Hey there, my name is Josh Garrick, and today I'm going to be going over two problems from CS 1371 Homework 4 that go a lot into if and switch statements and the different conditionals and how they work. So this first problem, sent just like this in the homework file, shows just how creative the homework team is for CS 1371. It's battle with starter Pokemon. The function name is I choose you, and with two inputs. One is a string containing the Pokemon that you're using, and the other is a string containing the Pokemon that your rival is using. The output is a string telling which player has the type advantage. So here's a description. You have just chosen a starter Pokemon, and now your rival wants to battle. You want to determine which of your Pokemon has the type advantage over the other, so you use MATLAB to help you. Write the function I choose you that takes in a string containing the, as we said before, the inputs and outputs, and it will output either, the Pokemon will be either Squirtle, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and the output will either be no sweat if you have the type advantage, or this will be difficult if your rival has the type advantage. So, just a little note is that Charmander has a type advantage over Bulbasaur, Bulbasaur has a type advantage over Squirtle, Squirtle has a type advantage over Charmander. Those are going to be the three inputs. It'll only be one of those three Pokemon, and you and your rival will never have the same Pokemon, and it'll never be the same two inputs. Okay, so going into the code I actually wrote up for this, it's going to be a if statement. So function, the output is advantage. Function name I choose you with you and your rival as the inputs. So you want to use the string compare function to compare and see if what your Pokemon is and what your rival's Pokemon is, and you're going to go through the if statement. For the first three if else ifs, if you have the type advantage, then it's going to give out no sweat. So it's checking to make sure that your Pokemon is one and the rival's Pokemon is the one that you would have a type advantage over. And if anything else, then it's just going to output this will be difficult. So it just tests for those three cases of you and your rival, and everything else is going to be that you're losing. So that's just the comments. The bottom is just a comment saying, sets up an if statement, which in each statement does a string comparison of your Pokemon as well as your rivals for one of the given three, depending on whether you have the type advantage only, or else it will output the rival has the type advantage. So that's what our if statement will do, and it should work every time. Going into the next problem, we have problem 3, making a simple computer. So our function name is scomp with 3 inputs, a piece of data, another piece of data, and the operation to be performed. And our output, we have 2 of those, and the result of the operation and the class of the result. So the description is write a function called scomp that takes in 2 pieces of data that are type logical and any length and a string containing the operation to be performed element by element on the data. If the input can be operated on without erroring, then the function should compute the result of the operation performed on the data and output. The result, if operating on the data, will cause an error, then the function should return the string invalid inputs. The function should check to see if the data are valid lengths and are both of type logical. The possible operations that we could use in this are and, or, and XOR. Right? Yeah. Oh, sorry, that was at the bottom of this. The possible functions we can use are and, XOR. The OR is an exclusive OR function. So, and then the only note is do not use under any circumstances the error function. So just a little hint is that we want to think about the criteria that the two vectors are to meet. Two vectors must meet from MATLAB to do mathematical or logical operations without erroring. So in looking at the actual function that we're going to write up, we have function, our outputs result in class of equals the function name scomp and data1, data2, and string. So for this one, I actually used an if statement with a switch statement nested on the inside of that if statement. So first, our if statement tests to make sure that both data1 and data2 are type logical. So we use the isLogical function. And if that's true, then we're going to move into our switch statement, which is testing the string to find out which one it is and or XOR. So depending on which it is, we're going to have the result is going to equal data1 and data2, data1 or data2, or the last would be XOR data1 and data2. So that's going to return our vector of logicals depending on which function the string for the type of operator it is. And then class of is just going to be class of the result. So that's the switch statement, and if we test it in the beginning and it's not logical, both types are not logical, then everything else is going to be result invalid outputs, and it's just going to be a char class of that. So it's our if statement. If our if statement works, we move into our switch statement. If not, it's going to be invalid outputs. So again, it's just the comments on how that works, but I just explained that. So those two problems were just a lot going into the switch and the if statement, how you can nest one within the other, and how you can really use them to get what you want to get out, rather than trying to just code a whole bunch of code that won't work. So I hope that helps a little bit. Thanks.